Yo, Joe!
Hello everybody and welcome to another action figure review. Today, G.I.Joe Classified Rock and Roll, or as they put here on his full name, Craig McConnell, and then his code-name is Rock and Roll. And yes, this is part of a new wave that is coming out, and for some reason Big Bad Toy Store every now and then, when it comes to new G.I. Joe Classified waves, they'll get like one figure they get early for some reason. I think for the last wave, they had gotten the Crimson Bats early, I think, and now this wave they're getting Rock and Rolls early, which is pretty cool. It gives us a chance to get a little taste of a new wave, and Rock and Roll is a strong figure right off the bat. I like this new packaging we're seeing here. You get some nice logo up here. There's a new presentation on the front, where we have this sort of 3D render of the figure itself. Very cool with the nice background. And what I love about these sort of backgrounds is that they put little Easter eggs in them from the cartoon show. And I think this is a rocket that G.I. Joe sort of launches, and then Cobra tries to steal it away. Is it steal? Yeah, they try to rob it, take it for themselves. And I don't think that went too well, but there's that rocket. I believe it's from that episode. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but we get a nice art here, and I believe it is the same artist for the entire wave, because they all have the same sort of art style. But we get a nice sort of portrait there of him. In this corner we get a cool sort of accessory listing there. Again, G.I. Joe Classified here with a star. I assume the Cobra will have a Cobra logo here. There's a nice side art again with the number, which a lot of people wanted the art with the number to display like this. So everybody wanted that, got their wishes. And on the other side, we also get the number 71 with the more just sort of blue portrait there. And the QR code, which you can scan, it should take you to the G.I. Joe website. But it's currently down. They haven't updated the website. I assume they're waiting for the entire wave to release in the United States. Maybe the website will, be up and running by then, but as of right now, QR code and the website does not work. We have the back of the box, of course, detailing everything that comes with the figure again, with some digital renders. It gives you, sort of a size. He's 6 inches, 6.4 inches. And then, they zoom in on some of the details, like, oh, look, he has some tattoos. He has the backside of his back. For some reason, we still get the little symbols here, which of course you would decipher on the G.I. Joe website, but again, it's not running yet. But yeah, that does it for the box. It's a very nice box. I like the style. I've said before I didn't mind this other style, but I think this one, it just stands out more. I think I do prefer this. Again, I never minded this one, but I think they're doing a good job with this new style of packaging. That being said, I already did open the figure, but just to show off what's inside, this is where the figure comes in. And again, it's a portrait of that same art of the character with some nice sort of black sides there, and just a cool black and white version of that print. It sucks that there's all these holes, because it would be cool if it was a bit cleaner without those holes, but even then, they're not too noticeable, and it's a nice thing to include. And they also changed up I guess I could remove that. They also changed up the weapon, sort of crate. You get the number there now, the star there, and yeah, so it's another sort of brief I can't talk. It's another sort of crate, with the name there and everything. And of course you open it and we're still having that nice wax paper with the nice Cobra and G.I. Joe symbols. But anyway, that is 5 minutes worth of, I guess, box talk. I mean, you guys can skip ahead to the actual figure, but you know, it is a new box style, so I thought I'd go through just to see what we're dealing with. And I like it. I like this type of box. I may replace these once the new wave hits, but we'll see until then. Now let's talk about the figure accessories. Now, in terms of accessories, we do get a fair amount of them, and that is very nice to see. We'll start with the hands because, you know, everyone has been asking for hands in Classified, and we finally do get them. We get a nice hand for a rock and roll gesture with a nice tattoo of a sort of skull print on it. Very cool, and I think for the most part the tattoo came out looking great. So there that is. And then we get a fist as well for his right hand. They both have the horizontal hinges on them. So yeah, very nice that we have some fists now that we can use to have him punch some Cobra troops. We'll go in with the walkie-talkie because I think there's some nice detailing on there. There's some, you know, a black screen on there, the keypad there, and all these different knobs. You know, the antenna is very flimsy, very soft plastic, so you know, it shouldn't break. And then you get the peg, which we'll get to weapon storage later on. We get this sort of ammo belt for this other sort of magazine, and you simply put it in there. This connects to the M60 gun here as so, and there that is, looking pretty cool. And it's cool that they give you the option to have either this as an option or the even bigger ammo belt over here, which you can just sort of slide in, you know, all the way through and whatnot. So that's very nice. We do get a pistol, a new mold pistol here. The only problem I have with this is that there's no porthole, so you can't use any of the, you know, sort of Viper 3-pack effects on it. I think the only one I managed to find that works well is a Marvel Legends sort of blast effect. And yeah, so it just goes over the I forget weapon terminology, but you know, it just sort of goes over the barrel right there. So yeah, there's that. I tried one of the Valiverse's one. It also didn't fit. So yeah, this is the only option I've found so far. There's probably others out there, but from what I have, this is it. We then have his helmet, which is different to that of, I think it's different compared to Roblox. I do have him here. Yeah, it's going to be a different sculpt all around. I mean, they just reused this sort of portion. Of course, it could just be sort of a retool on the helmet. They added all this other sort of earmuffs on the side and this pouch on the back. But it's sculpted nicely and it's very soft and pliable. I think I would have preferred it was being a little bit harder plastic, but a lot of people don't mind this and I don't either. So yeah, there's a nice Hang 10 there. Very cool helmet to have. And then finally we do have his M60, looking very cool. There's a lot of detail with this one. As you can see there, you can see where the sort of big block magazine connects there. You know, we'll put it on for the meantime. It is a kind of a loose fit, you know, like it doesn't stay there securely. Like if you tap it, it's gonna disconnect. Overall, it is kind of very pliable here at the front, not so much at the back because it's thicker, but yeah, here at the front it gets a bit more slimmer, and I think mine is a bit warped, so I'll have to warp that back. You know, you get the bipod, which, you know, hinge forward and back. I also find it very frustrating that whenever you do put rock and roll in some sort of crouching position where he's supporting the gun, like they tend to extend outward. I wish it was a bit sturdier here, just to add that more a bit more of support there, you know, so that it doesn't go to the side, because you can see how it just, you know, tries to extend outwards whenever you do apply some pressure. But it's a nice gun nonetheless. I do have a Marvel Legends one, which is an old sort of mold, and you can see the differences there. The bipodum, this one is, you know, sculpted on there. It's not movable or anything. But there that is, very similar when it comes to sculpt and mold. But it's a nice gun. I just wish it was a bit tougher on the plastic. But other than that, we have a great amount of accessories. That being said, let's move on to the figure itself. Well, there's a lot going on with rock and roll here, in terms of, I guess, their design and just overall details. You know, it's always best to have some sort of wash over the brown just to bring out some of that sculpt detail, but we get so much with this guy that I don't even mind it not having the wash. But you know, they'll always, when they have canteens, I do wish they would paint them just to give him some color. But here he is. In terms of articulation, he's not bad. He's very good at articulating. His head goes up very far. There's a lot of room under the neck there. You know, it's a dumbbell, you know, ball joint up there. So he can look up pretty good. He does have some great tilt, and he can look down rather well. So, you know, there's a lot of space inside of that head, so he can look around pretty well. You know, there's also movement at the base of the neck, so that's something you can also mess around with. Arms can go up about that much. I think this other one, no, it can do the same thing. You can T-pose them. He does have butterfly joints, which, you know, they don't really go forward too much unless his arm is over here, then he goes in a bit more. But they do go back a fair amount over there. You get the bicep swivel, you get the double jointed arms, you get a vertical hinge for his trigger finger on his right hand, and a horizontal hinge for his left hand over here. You do get, you know, the waist swivel there. Very nice. Some good ab crunch and back. So all together, very good. So, you know, you can look down even more. He does have a great kick. You know, with the drop down hip, he can probably kick even more. You do have the upper thigh cut there, very nice. And then you get some strong knees here, but, you know, after you move them around, they do loosen up. And there you go, double jointed knees. And then you get a boot cut, and then you get boot going back, forward, and some nice pivoting. So that's the articulation with this guy. He is a fun figure to pose. I posed him a lot, and I also posed him a lot with the Ram cycle, because I do believe in the first comic, we see him riding the Ram cycle, and he's just having the time of his life, blasting away at Cobra Troopers. But yeah, let's get a closer look at this head sculpt, because it is phenomenal. It is on par with that of Outback. You know, they did a good job with Outback here, and they did another great job with Rock and Roll. So, you know, let's get a closer look in there. You know, those eyes came out very good. I don't have any of that paint splotch from the yellow onto his skin tone, which I'm glad. I don't have that sort of paint mistake. I know some people have had some yellow, you know, sort of paint onto the skin, but for the most part, mine doesn't have that, so I am happy. But yeah, just all around, there's some nice sort of wash. I don't know if that's what you call it, but there's a sort of wash to the hair, and I'm not focused in, but yeah, there that is. Nice mustache and beard. And there's also this sort of, I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but there's a nice sort of, what do you call it? Some sort of skin rosiness to him, like he's been sunburned a bit here on the cheeks, sort of. I don't know how well that picks up though, but it is a phenomenal head. And then throughout his body, it's pretty plain green pants with the brown sort of knee pads there, which look very nice. The boots also are in that plain brown, but overall, I think this is a new mold for this character. Of course, it won't be so new once they reuse it 100 times more, but it is, from what I can see and notice, it is all new. You have a new sort of torso piece with that collar piece in there. You get this cool ammo belts wrapping around him. That's very nice. The only thing I will complain about is this messiness with the paint. I don't know which paint was added on, whether it was the white or the green, because in some places it's just sort of like fades away and you start to see the color of the plastic there. But yeah, the paint could have been done better, in my opinion. It is kind of messy in some areas, but from a distance, it's not so noticeable to me, at least. That the tattoos, though, on the other hand, I think they did a good job. Obviously, this is an action figure, so it's gonna look a bit odd, but for the most part, it's looking pretty solid all around. And these sort of hand cuffs here are removable, so you get even more of that tattoo there. Very cool. And then again, the gauntlet here, or cuff piece, also has some bullets, some ammo on them, and you can do the same on this side. You can remove the hand, remove the cuff, and you get more of that tattoo in there. And then this dude's got a mom tattoo on it. Very cool. So yeah, there's this other tattoo, some skulls and stuff, and then there's that hand skull on there too. Very cool figure. Very cool figure to look at and very cool to pose. Alright, so talking about pose, let me pose him up and then I'll give my final thoughts on the figure. Alright, there we have him, giving us the rock and roll hand gesture. It's just so nice, it's so expressive, and it's something different and unique to the character, and I think a lot of people will appreciate that. Overall, I rank this guy a 9 out of 10. He's almost perfect. The paint really does bother me when it comes to this sort of area here. It could have I can't English right now, but you know what I mean. They could have done better. There you go. That's what I meant to say. But like you can see, the sort of paint chipping in the hinge and over here at the butterfly joint. It just doesn't look too nice, in my opinion. But yeah, that really does kind of bother me. But other than that, everything was perfect. I think other than the super flimsy gun and some of the accessories, I think that also kind of brings it down a little bit. But other than that, he is a terrific figure. From a distance, you don't notice all those little imperfections. And at the end of the day, it's an action figure and it's fun to play with, fun to pose, and he looks great next to other figures. Which, talking about other figures, I don't think rock and roll is as big as, let's say Roblox. I think, yeah, he's way shorter than Roblox. But he's still that kind of beefy, short dude compared to other Joe members. Here's Bazooka. You know, he's a bit taller. Bazooka's a bit more like Roblox kind of height, but yeah, he's not as tall as them, and he is, or should be. I didn't really compare their sizes before doing this video, but yeah, he's about a bit taller than your regular Joe. Yeah, just a tad hair taller than a regular Joe. I mean, this Breaker does have a huge helmet, so there that is. There's some size comparisons. But yeah, this guy looks amazing on his own and with his teammates. Definitely recommend picking this figure up. He looks amazing. It's a nice change of, you know, sort of plastic that we've been seeing before, where the arms were popping off, and now it doesn't really do that. It still seems a bit soft in there, you know, there's still some force to it to get it moving, but other than that, it's a solid figure, and I like that Hasbro has heard and they've given us tighter joints, not extremely tight, but just enough to make the figure fun to pose. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. It's probably a lengthy one because we did really dive into everything as much as I could. But, you know, when it comes to new figures, new molds and everything, I want to be thorough, and I just want to, you know, bring everything up, you know, so, you know, it's always fun to look at new figures. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching my videos. Stick around if you want to see more of rock and roll in my pictures, and I'll see you guys in a future video.